sacred on the broadcast. Quote in the comments, chanting every line. You're tuned to the truth that you'll never find online. Come on. It's the quote of Ron and Brian. If you're in, you ain't ever going quiet. Twist that dial, let the whole world hear it. Two sharp minds in the bad influence spirit. Hey, quote of Ron and Brian. Welcome to the ride, you're inside it now.
And here we are, everybody, a special Monday night Memorial Day episode of The Cult of Ron and Brian, episode 406. We just keep plugging along. Brian, as always, is here next to me. How the hell are you doing tonight, Brian?
Listen, man, this feels like it's been like a 12-day weekend. I know it's Monday night. I know people are sitting there saying, oh, we've got the Monday scaries, back to work. People, it's a short work week. Short. Yep. Hopefully you're wearing a shirt to work for those who have that kind of employment. But it's a short work week. We got 4 days. We're going to knock them out. We're going to survive. And what do? We get another weekend. And I don't want to get your hopes up, people, especially those on the East Coast. But the early forecast for weather this coming weekend, I believe we'll be able to spend some time outdoors. All right. This past weekend, the weather sucked, utterly sucked. It went, the temperature dropped out 40 degrees. It was in mid-90s midweek. We were at 55 on Saturday. Memorial Day weekend run. I know it's a holy weekend in your home, in your household. Memorial Day, you look forward to every year, and this year you were robbed of it.
We look forward to Memorial Day weekend because it is the official start of Hot Podcaster Summer.
Hot Podcaster Summer.
Do feel a little ripped off, but listen, at least we can go out on a high note at the end of this weekend with episode 406. Are you ready to dive into this, my friend?
Let's do this.
All right, let's get it going. It's time for Drink of the Week.
Well, welcome aboard. Don't spill your brew. We've got 1 cup and maybe 2. A mystery pour in a paper sleeve. The kind that makes the wise men grieve. Hey, drink of the week. Drink of the week. Raise it up. Let the anchors creak. Drink of the week. Drink of the week. Bottoms up for the Cult of Ron and Brian podcast.
Oh, that's right, folks. A new Drink of the Week intro, song, and video. Always, again, reinvesting into the podcast, as we like to say each and every week. Brian, what are you drinking this week?
All right, so this week is the first week of my mystery box, my local wine, beer, alcohol store. They do this thing, which I just recently discovered, where it's basically you buy a 12-pack, you have no idea what's in there. They just fill it up with these one-offs that they were not able to sell.
Okay.
I think it was $23 for 12 bottles and cans. Which, first off, putting aside a great deal, but you know what it's going to do? It's going to get me out of my comfort zone of drinking lagers and pilsners every fucking week. So this week, we're going to come to you with my favorite French lager, 1664, from the kind folks over at Kronenberg. Let me hold this thing up. You are going to see a beautiful, beautiful lager. This is a French pale lager with a noble history going back to the year 1664, characterized by its fine taste, its golden hues, and a delicate bitterness, which come from selecting the best hops, or as they like to call it, the Streusselpalt, sound German, for a French lager, and a unique know-how of the Kronenberg lager brewmasters for over 350 years, coming in at 5.0 ABV. Beer Advocate, those beer snob bastards, only give this a score of 74. Let's see what I think of it.
And while you drink that, do you know offhand what the 1664 is in reference to? My French history is lacking a bit.
I believe 1664 is the year of the French Revolution.
All right. And how is that beer?
It's very fucking bitter. I mean,
Just
don't
like
get me
the
wrong. I feel like I'm drinking a cultured beer, that this is somehow, something that, the elites would drink, while sitting on their backyards overlooking their estates, basically figuring out how to make sure that they survive the upcoming plague that is ruining the cities. But this is 1664 by Cronenberg. I'm giving this a 2.75.
No, kind of disappointing, but you will finish it. We always make sure we finish our drink of the week.
It's very bitter. Ron, speaking of
Yes.
bitter, let me ask you a question.
Yes.
What are you drinking?
So this week, Brian, we go to the good folks at Breckenridge Brewery for their summer cerveza. This is their salt and lime lager, clocking in at solid 5%. Summer, because as we mentioned before, it is time for Hot Podcaster Summer.
Hot Podcaster Summer.
So let's drink a little cerveza, see how this goes down real quick. Oh, that's nice.
Oh, walk me through this.
Mood.
Tell me,
Mood.
what do you got?
You get the hoppiness, you get the lime, and then you get that little bit of salt aftertaste at the end. I thought tan limes from Cape May Brewing might be my favorite salt and lime lager. This might take its place now. This is a solid beer. I would give this 4 out of 5.
Oh my goodness, a 4 out of 5. I'm jealous.
It's quite tasty, no doubt.
Yeah, it seems like you got a much better beer this week than I did.
Well, you went with the mystery box, and maybe next week's beer will be better for you. We'll have to wait and see.
Ron, you told me back in college you were a big fan of the mystery box.
I'm an older man now. I am matured. Let's just put it that way.
Sure. Now you like a familiar box.
Cronenberg started making lager. Interesting.
Interesting. Thanks for looking that up, Guy. We appreciate you know what? A good fact checker. We have always asked Matt to fact check during the show. Never good at it. Gets distracted easily. Usually he's just trying to figure out a new way to roll up a dollar bill. But this week, Guy Bannister coming in with a little fact check. Ron, what else do we got this week? Let's roll through this.
We've got, of course, it's time for Beef of the Week.
Ron and Brian's Beef of the Week.
Folks, if you're not watching the video of the podcast, which you should be, we kept the same Beef of the Week music, but now we have an intro video. So make sure you follow us on Twitch, Facebook, or Instagram. Smash that subscribe button. Brian, what's bothering you this week?
I'm going to tell you what's bothering me. It is the staff at the Tommy Bahama Marlin Bar in the King of Prussia Mall.
Wait, you were at that bar? I was at that bar.
I will tell the story. If I get any facts incorrect, Ron, please point them out. Stop me, because I want this story to be accurate. And this is just my complaint is that you and I sat down. Our ladies were doing a little shopping in the mall. You and I decided we were going to sit down, spend a little time having a couple beers, having a couple good conversations. So we were walking through the mall. We walk by the Marlin Grill bar, I believe it's called, the Tommy Bahama Marlin Grill bar, whatever it's called.
The retail store is right there, and then they added a bar and restaurant next to it.
Beautiful concept in theory. So we found 2 seats at the end of the bar. We sat down. The bartender put 2 menus in front of us and then went about her day. She made some drinks. I saw she spoke to some other people sitting at the bar. I saw she rang up some bills. She was cleaning glasses in the dishwasher, taking them out. The woman was busy. Don't get me wrong. She was clear. Wasn't as if she was just sitting there doing nothing. But one thing she was not doing was coming by to take our order. I would say probably about 4 or 5 minutes go by.
It was a long time.
You think it was more than 5? It felt like for fucking ever, but I don't want to. Yeah, it felt like a long time. So at some point, I would say it was a manager walked by us.
It would appear that way. Yeah.
The way they were dressed, it looked like they had some kind of like a genie kind of blue shirt on, like a jeans aesthetic kind of thing. Walked by, spoke with the bartender, was walking out of the bar area, looked at us, looked at the menus in front of us, looked back up at us as we were clearly just shooting daggers at this woman to try and get her attention. She looks at us and goes, "I'm sorry, have you guys been helped?" We're like, no, we have not been helped, but we would very much appreciate. And I think we tried to be as friendly as possible while also pointing out that we were not getting good customer service. So she said, "What can I get you?" You ordered I want to say Stella. I ordered a Yingling. So the woman turns around, walks over to the bartender, speaks to the bartender. We was on the other side of the bar, so we couldn't hear what was going on. And then she walks out of the bar. I don't remember whether she made eye contact with us or said anything. Next thing you know, bartender continues, makes some drinks, rings up a bar tab, then comes over to us and hands us a bill for a Stella and a Yingling, and then walks away. We're just stunned that this woman has now decided to charge us for 2 beverages. We haven't even gotten our drinks yet. So she comes over to, I guess, pick up the tab to get our credit card. And we looked at her, we're like, we haven't gotten our beers yet. At which point, I'm sorry. At this point, we've been sitting at that bar for over 10 minutes. Had not gotten a drink, but got the bill. As soon as she realized her error, laughed it off, took the bill away, came back with our beers. And then when we did finally, it was time for us to leave. We were ready to go. We had to wait another 5 minutes to get her attention to get the bill so we could pay.
The check that we had already been given previously that she took away. Could have just left the check there.
Would have been perfectly fine with it. It's not even incompetence. It's not even that she was not working hard. She was doing the work.
Sure, and the work is so important.
It's just the fact that it's a terrible system there, that you can have a setup going on where you're not rotating around the bar, making sure that everybody is being attended to. Terrible system. I felt kind of put a stain on what was otherwise a lovely, lovely afternoon with the ladies.
I'll give you that.
Absolutely. That's my complaint.
Right.
Ron, what's bothering you?
Well, what's bothering me, and you touched on it earlier, the weather that we had this Memorial Day weekend. As we know, it is the official start of Hot Podcaster Summer.
Podcaster Summer.
Not only that, we had plans. You know, the pool was opened a week and a half ago. You and your lovely wife were coming down. We had friends that we're going to do a little backyard barbecue on Saturday, a little pool party, a little swimming. Some food, some drinks. Had to cancel it because it was just, like you said, it was rainy, it was cold, it was windy. Not what you would necessarily experience over Memorial Day weekend. Like Billy said, mostly a washout all weekend. Driving was treacherous. So it was a bummer. And I look forward to better weather, hopefully this upcoming weekend. But just, you work hard and you get a long weekend and you want to just be able to relax. And while it was relaxing, it wasn't the kind of relaxing we would have preferred.
Sure. I mean, you had asked us to come down, I would say maybe 2 months ago. Like, hey, Memorial Day weekend, come on down. It was just, it was something I was looking forward to for a long time, was to come down. I had just this visual of you in front of your Blackstone, making some burgers, shirtless, while wearing. I was just, it was just like it was just a total washout. And not only that, it was cold and rainy. It could have been one or the other. Had it been warm and rainy, we would have just sat in your, under your covered backyard patio area, and we could have watched some TV. We could have, just at least enjoyed some outdoors.
Sure.
Didn't even get that.
No, wasn't good for anything, unfortunately.
Can I sneak in a supplemental beef of the week? Am I allowed to as a 49%
You are allowed.
owner?
I'll allow it.
When my lady has access to a rental car, my weekend is fucked. Just fucked. Number of shopping, stores.
So you don't get hit with a pillow. So we were, you came down on Friday. We had a lovely dinner in Philadelphia on Friday night.
Yes.
Then Saturday, you guys were talking about what you were going to do with your day. And your wife said, "Oh, we're thinking of going to the King of Prussia Mall," to which my wife, you would have thought you'd have injected her with straight heroin, was just like, "King of Prussia Mall?"
She got so excited. It was adorable.
So we knew that our day was now set. And we go out to the mall, but we left. It was probably like 10:30 a.m. that we left to go to the mall. And
it was earlier than that. We got to the mall. It was about 10:45. So we must have left your house around 10, because remember, we got there before. We were talking about going to Buffalo Wild Wings, which was supposed to open around 11. So we got to the mall a little early. Remember, we decided we were going to get some Starbucks, because when you're at the mall, you support corporate coffee. You don't support small business. You don't support small independent coffee. You go big business. So we got to the mall about 10:45. Never made it to Buffalo Wild Wings. Never. There was a
lot of shopping, a lot of promises made to us that we could sit around and drink. Those were all lies.
Sure.
But your wife was coming up with a list of places to stop on your way back to the Ivory Tower, and my wife, I think, somewhat jokingly said to you, "Well, Brian, you'll be home around 10 p.m. tonight," and we all had a good laugh at that. What time did you end up getting home on Saturday night from all the shopping?
9:30. Now, keep in mind, we left your house at 10.
Yeah.
We got back to our place and keep in mind, like we hit multiple stops on the way back. We hit Home Goods. We hit Home Sense. I believe there was a TJ Maxx mixed in. Then we went to an Asian supermarket. We stopped off for dinner. There were other stops along the way too. It was just brutal.
You left the mall, it probably was 2:30, 3 o'clock,
Sure.
and you're only like 2 hours to home. So clearly you managed to fill another, 5.5 hours when shopping.
And in true Ron form, just, because when you know that something's bothering me or is just like irritating me, you really just stick that pencil right into the nerve and you just poke it and
rub a little salt in there.
About 3 hours into our shopping escapade, I get a text from Ron being like, "Oh, just woke up from the greatest afternoon nap. It's so nice, when you have weather like this, to just be able to fall asleep, take a nap,
Just
knowing you have nuts
on a rainy Saturday afternoon. It's nice to have nothing to do."
I was so mad. So mad.
Well, let's keep it rolling here. We've got next up our stories of the week. These are our stories that we like to grab, hold on to, and make sure that we share with you folks each and every week. Brian, what is your story of the week this week?
My story of the week is something that I stole out of our Fuck Around and Find Out section. I know you had placed it there earlier this week. I know this was a story that you felt was perfect for Fuck Around and Find Out, but I'm grabbing it. I am highlighting it for my story of the week. This story takes us all the way to Indiana, where a woman, 75, is dead after getting into a fight with the staff at a local Tim Hortons coffee/donut shop because she got into a physical altercation over a mix-up with her drive-thru order. This is an example, people, of what is wrong with the sense of entitlement in this country, that if your order at a retail location is wrong, the correct response is to storm into the store and to start a fight. Listen, Ron, I know you love the drive-thru. How many times have you gone through the drive-thru, realized your order was wrong before you pulled out of the parking lot? And I'm assuming you turned around, you walked into the store, and you said, "Excuse me, I'm very sorry, but you put a Chick-fil-A sandwich in here when clearly I had asked for a spicy chicken sandwich. Do you mind exchanging it?" Something along those lines.
Yeah, these things happen.
Sure.
Just you go in, you ask for it to be fixed, and you don't. Now, what this woman did, and again, we don't want people to die at Tim Horton.
No.
But to be fair, she did physically strike one of the employees, who then was like, "It's on, Grandma.
Oh, it's on. Yeah.
I'm gonna give you a blueberry fritter and a donut and a coffee upside your head. The double you're getting are these two fists."
So Anita Grayson, she storms into, and this is all on video, so if you want to look it up, just look up Tim Horton's customer dead in Fort Wayne, Indiana. I've been in Fort Wayne, I would like to point out. It's a terrible town. She took a swing at the manager and ripped out a chunk of the manager's hair in a brawl. She storms into the Fort Wayne Tim Hortons just after 8 a.m. May 13th and berates a 17-year-old female worker. Keep in mind, this is a 75-year-old customer screaming at a 17-year-old female worker. No offense, but just imagine you have to wake up early in the morning to go work at a Tim Hortons. You are 17. And you've got this old granny coming in and just screaming at you. She was upset her order was wrong. Surveillance footage released by the police department captures Grayson pointing and shouting at the worker as the coffee house's 20-year-old shift manager steps in, tells the woman to leave. At this point, the supervisor touches Grayson, who appeared to be getting very aggressive. After she stepped towards the young worker, Grayson allegedly then pushes the manager and punches her on the left side of her face. Police said that Grayson hit the 20-year-old hard enough to leave scratches and send her glasses flying. But this is where you fuck around. And Grayson is about to find out, because as Grayson moves closer, the manager pushes back. Grayson responds by shoving her hand in the manager's face, which triggers a melee that ends with the pair on the floor. At this point, two Tim Horton employees move in, attempt to separate, but struggle to get the shift manager's hair out of Grayson's hand. During the struggle, Grayson pulled a chunk of hair from the shift lead's head, leaving a raw area on the top of her head. Police respond to a 911 call of an altercation involving a reported battery, and they find Grayson unresponsive. She died later on that morning in the local Fort Wayne hospital. And I'm going to say this, based on the facts of what I've read in this story, I'm not upset.
Well, not only that, in the story, it goes on to say that Anita picks up the hair that she tore out of the girl's head off the floor and puts it in her bag to take with her.
Unbelievable.
Like a souvenir.
Just because you're the customer does not mean that you have the right to physically assault the employees. We live in such an age of entitlement where we feel that any perceived slight against us should be met with the greatest level of outrage. It is single-handedly, along with the concentration of wealth amongst the oligarchs here in Silicon Valley. Those two things have ruined the Western civilization, and it needs to stop. People, if you're upset because somebody treats you poorly or something or life doesn't go your way, that doesn't mean you need to take it to a level 10 DEFCON 1 and go absolutely fucking crazy.
Good point from Janelle. Maybe Anita was going to do a little voodoo with that.
I like that. That is very possible. Very possible. Ron, what is your story of the week?
So my story, Brian, do you remember Punch the monkey out in Japan? That was that little baby monkey that
was rejected by the mother.
Rejected him, and he found like a stuffed animal as a friend, and then he eventually gets accepted into another monkey society in there.
Mm-hmm.
Well, now, Brian,
yes,
2 Americans are now facing criminal charges in Japan after pulling a stunt at the Ichikawa City Zoo, the home to Punch. On Sunday, last Sunday, not this Sunday, Reed Janai Dason, age 24, a university student, scaled a fence and entered Punch's enclosure wearing a smiley face mascot costume, while Neil Jabari Duan, age 27, stood outside and filmed the whole thing. Once inside, Dason dropped a small stuffed toy near the monkeys, who retreated as he approached. No physical contact was made with any of the animals, and zoo staff quickly moved in and escorted him out. The two men face charges of forcible obstruction of business, which they deny. They also initially had no formal ID on them and tried to give false names to police. The stunt forced the cancellation of a scheduled event at the zoo. As for Punch, the zoo confirmed no abnormalities were observed in the animals following safety checks. Starting Tuesday, the zoo restricted the viewing area around Punch's enclosure, installed intrusion prevention nets, and instituted permanent patrols.
Once again,
we don't have nice things, Brian.
We don't deserve nice things. It's not even the fact that we can't have them. We don't deserve them as people. And I know it's instinctive that people are going to sit there and be like, well, I deserve the nice things. It's that person who fucks it up for everyone. You don't see the collective humanity as one group. We are all the same. We are all in the same category. We are humans, and we don't deserve nice things. We don't know how to handle it. We can't be trusted with it. God damn it.
Especially why would you I don't know why we have this. Like, I think, like Punch, Mudang was another one, that little baby hippo.
I remember that.
Why, you and I see this stuff on TikTok. You're like, oh, that's cute. No interest whatsoever in flying internationally to go to the zoo to see these things. So it's like, how different is it going to be than what I'm seeing on my phone screen? But people just take it over the top.
Correct, Ron. But at the same point, and I don't want to, sometimes I fear holding up the mirror as you speak these facts, but you're sitting there being like, I'll watch a cute video about a monkey in Japan and I just go about my life. But like the degree of obsessiveness that you have about the party scene in Cartagena, Colombia, with the local females, you seem obsessed with it, and you keep looking at airfare and sending me you keep sending me links. But
those are humans, Brian. It's a whole different ballgame.
Is it that so different? Like, the number, like the degree that you are obsessed with going to Cartagena, and not just Cartagena. See, I watch Narcos. I'm hip. I'm cool.
You know things. So Brian, when we talked about what we were watching last week, I talked about the new documentary on Netflix, The Crash, about Mackenzie Shirilla and how she killed her boyfriend and another friend and was convicted. It's doing 15 years to life. Have you had an opportunity to watch the documentary yet? So
not at all. So
people have a lot of feelings over the family, over Mackenzie. So first off, she's 17 years old. She kills her boyfriend, she kills a close friend, and a lot of times, you're going to blame the parents partially in a situation like this. In this
hard
case,
not to.
You should totally be blaming the parents. So here is a photo of Mackenzie and her parents. So we didn't really get into this, but it's her story has really been amplified since this documentary came out again. Apparently Hulu did a show on this, not Hulu, but there was a docu series that was on Hulu about this. First off, she had been dating her boyfriend for 4 years. So that means when he was 16 and she was 13, they started dating.
Ew.
At 17 years old, she's 17, he's now 20. Her parents are like, yeah, you can go live with him. That's fine.
Oh, no.
They know she's like, her Instagram feed is all, her smoking weed, doing drugs, She got into trouble all these different times at school. Her parents never did anything about it. So you hear about this throughout the course of the documentary, and even still, like the mother, and I'm forgetting her first name. Her mother at her sentencing was talking about leniency for Mackenzie and how you shouldn't,
Right.
take away Mackenzie's life because of this. And the judge stops her at one point and says, I'm hearing a lot about your daughter. I'm not hearing anything about the two men that she killed.
Right.
She's like, well, Dom, who was her boyfriend, Dom was a part of our family and was around for many years. And the judge is like, well, what about Davian, who was the friend that got killed? Well, he was a new friend. What does that mean? The judge even said, what does that mean? Is his life worth less? Because so like these people, like you listen to the parents and you realize how they produced such a dysfunctional teenage daughter as they did. So anyway, as we mentioned, she's serving a life sentence with parole eligibility after 15 years. The judge even said, I highly doubt you'll be out in 15 years. She's like, I don't see you making the changes and taking accountability. So the documentary, a couple of things happened since it came out. So her father, Steve Shirilla, he is a teacher for art and digital media at Mary Queen of Peace Catholic School in Cleveland. So he had made comments defending his daughter's marijuana use, saying, quote, I don't have a problem with her smoking dope. If you're going to smoke a drug, that's the one I believe you should use. So the school that he works for placed him on administrative leave pending an investigation, citing poor judgment following complaints that surfaced on social media. He maintains that the comments were taken out of context and that his daughter is innocent. Then came the prison tea. A former inmate named Mary Catherine Crowder, who spent over 6 months locked up with Shirilla at the Ohio Reformatory for Women, has gone viral on TikTok, claiming Shirilla acts more like a, quote, queen bee than a remorseful killer, always glammed up, giggling, and treating the facility like a high school popularity contest. You see how made up she is in this photo. This is from the documentary. This is her being interviewed. That's what she looked like when they interviewed her in prison.
So this photo is after, this is I'm in prison, I've already been found guilty of killing these two kids. This is not like I'm in school glam photo from like my Instagram. Okay, not a good look. Not like, and this is why you want a PR manager, somebody who's going to hold your hand through this process and say, you want to appear remorseful, even if you're not, just, And
at first I thought, all right, maybe she just got made up for the documentary. But no, picture after picture after picture, people are posting of her in prison. She is made up. She's doing her hair. She's got makeup, everything else. The whole family is shady as hell. Like from the Hulu documentary, they were playing audio of phone calls that she and her mother had, where at one point it just sounds like they're babbling to each other. And someone was like, well, that's carny talk. Like that's the talk you use when you don't want people around you to know what's going on. So they knew they were being recorded, and they're using this carny talk to make sure that the police don't know what they're talking about.
Right.
And I saw another TikTok where in like a year, she had probably 30 violations in the prison, either, stealing from other inmates, having illegal contraband, being places that she wasn't supposed to be, all sorts of things. So again, she's been in prison for, I think, going on 3 years now. So she's eligible for parole in 2037. But it sounds like the judge was right. Like at the rate that she is going, she has no chance for parole.
Really? Wow. Oh boy.
I think it's a very interesting documentary. Another thing they left out of the Netflix documentary is, she drove the car like 100 miles an hour into an office building.
I remember this.
In the Hulu documentary that they didn't touch on in the Netflix documentary, she had done a test drive of that route the day before. And like, this is the dead end of an office complex. Like, it's not a road that you would cut through to get to anywhere.
She knew what she was doing, is what you're saying.
She knew what she was doing, and the fact that her parents continue to enable her, they send her money, they keep her commissary account, stocked up so she can get all this stuff that she's getting. It's just crazy. The level of entitlement, especially after you have taken 2 lives.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Wow. I didn't. You know what? I think I need to watch this. I'm putting this on my list. This is going up on my list. What is it? What's it called again?
It's called The Crash.
The Crash on Netflix, and it's just okay. Got it. Thank you.
Will your wife make fun of you because you're again watching a show that I recommended?
There was something. She was talking about moving to Thailand, and she was just like, "Oh, you're gonna do it because Ron wants to move to Thailand. Because Ron,
You want to because Ron like it."
Yeah, I was, and what I said to her was just like, "Don't point that out to him because it feeds his ego. And if there's any person whose like ego is like more fluffed by compliments and whatnot, is you, Ron.
I have no idea what you're talking
love
about.
that shit, Ron. You love that shit. So when someone sits there and goes, "Oh, Ron wants you to watch it," I sat there at the table just being like, "Oh my god, this is just like Ron's gonna lap this shit up."
Another follow-up story we have this week, Brian, the JPMorgan Chase saga between Lorna Hajdini and Chirau Rana. So Hajdini has now filed a countersuit against her former colleague Rana, who accused her of making him her sex slave, allegations that went viral and sparked widespread memes. Hajdini is suing for defamation, claiming Rana fabricated the entire story. Her countersuit alleges Rana's goal was to, quote, destroy her reputation for leverage to extort millions of dollars from her and JPMorgan, and that he had made eerily similar sexual misconduct claims against a supervisor at a previous employer. That's some new information in the story there. Hajdini, quote, categorically and unequivocally denied his allegations, saying that they have ruined her reputation and destroyed her life. JPMorgan has also denied the original allegations. Both lawsuits are pending. Brian, how far away are we from a docuseries about this story? Because this is perhaps the most fascinating story of 2026 so far.
I believe it's already being made. I mean, the thing is this. The claims that he had in his original lawsuit, so specific, so outrageous, and in so many of them, there are claims of the public nature of these claims, that there are witnesses, that it was in front of other people. So this is one of those where it's like you either can, get people to go along with it, or you're just fabulously making this up. And if he's looking to make it up, I mean, the guy's career is over. It is such a public story. You're not going to be able to Google him without realizing that this is not somebody you can hire. And I don't say that in a official HR way, because
of course not. You would never make that bold a statement.
Exactly.
I was going on to another follow-up story from last week. We had talked about Tennessee school board member Keith Irvin, who went viral back in April for telling a teenage girl, quote, "God, you're hot." And then we covered how she had called him out and other members of the school board at a meeting a few weeks later. Well, now, Brian, Keith Irvin, again, looking exactly the way you would think someone who made that statement looks. He has been charged with assault after hugging her and making those statements about her. Irvin claimed the comment was meant to say that she was, quote, on a roll and had nothing to do with her appearance. Like, oh, you're so hot right now. That Hansel's so hot right now. The board had censured Irvin, but said it lacks the legal authority to remove him since school board members are independently elected. The teen later addressed the full board at a public meeting, calling her fellow members cowards for their failure to act and rejecting what she called their fake apologies. Irvin's first court appearance is scheduled for August. Do you think these charges hold up at all, Brian?
No.
Unfortunately not.
Unfortunately not. I think he's going to go the MAGA route and sit there and just say, as a white male, he's being targeted unfairly, blah, blah, blah. I believe there's going to be a white male prosecutor, a white male judge.
I mean, it's Tennessee also. Like, you have so little hope in the state of Tennessee.
Sure. And the only thing good coming out of Tennessee is its whiskey.
Here's another Tennessee story, Brian. This one is wild. Of course, on September 10th, 2025, conservative commentator Charlie Kirk was assassinated at a Utah university. Days later, Tennessee resident Larry Bushart posted a Facebook meme in a thread about a local Kirk vigil, a photo of President Trump with a real quote he made after a 2024 Iowa school shooting, where he said, "We have to get over it." Local authorities claim the post was understood as a threat to nearby Tennessee schools with similar names. 4 officers came to Bushart's home, arrested him, and charged him with threatening mass violence at a school. Again,
Really?
sharing a meme on Facebook.
Yeah.
Bushart, a 61-year-old retired police officer, spent 37 days behind bars under a $2 million bond before the felony charge was dropped. During that time, he lost his post-retirement job and missed both his wedding anniversary and the birth of his granddaughter. After that, he sued Perry County, the sheriff, and the investigator, and now he has won an $835,000 settlement.
That is great. That is, yep.
Free speech advocates are calling it a landmark moment, with his attorney saying, quote, "Respect the First Amendment today or be prepared to pay the price tomorrow." Of course, the sheriff still keeps his job, but
sure,
people don't get to use the law as their personal plaything and
correct.
Take care of vendettas that way.
Ron, go look at the White House and say the exact same thing about our current administration, because I will tell you that is the approach they're taking. And I believe it has been empowered at the local level, which is why you see cases like this.
I mean,
we have a president who was just suing the Department of the IRS for $10 billion. I mean, what's our own president, the man who's overseeing the IRS, is suing his own government agency for $10 billion. Well,
now he's settling for that $1.8 billion slush fund, which hopefully there are 2 House members. It's a bipartisan bill that is going to attempt to block that. And hopefully that's
We'll see.
Brian, we lost a lot of people this week. It was you do celebrity obits. This was one of the crazier weeks. We lost. This was one from the OJ trial. Mark Furman passing away at the age of 74. Former LA police detective, one of the most notorious figures from the OJ Simpson murder trial.
Sure,
he was one of the first 2 detectives sent to investigate the 1994 killings of Nicole Brown Simpson and Ronald Goldman. He reported finding a bloody glove at Simpson's home, but his credibility collapsed when the defense played a recording proving he had used racial slurs, directly contradicting his own sworn testimony. He pleaded no contest to perjury in 1996, then retired from the LAPD and reinvented himself as a true crime author, TV commenter, and Fox News contributor.
Listen,
passed away, never catching the real killer, Brian.
You may sit there and say, you may have a better memory of this than I do. But what I remember was the fact that it was, he's investigating the case. He's finding lots of evidence there, along with other detectives, along with other police officers on the scene. There was lots of evidence to be found. And somehow, because he had been audio recorded saying the N-word at some point in his life, having nothing to do with O.J. Simpson or this case, suddenly his entire credibility was thrown out the window, and basically he was seen as, it got translated to, he set OJ up by planting evidence. That's my memory of him, which was just like, seemed like such a leap in logic that a guy who used the N-word at some point in his life is going to show up to a crime scene where a woman and a male have been literally slashed to death, and just start dropping bloody gloves all over the house to try to convict OJ. I remember at the time being like, I felt like this guy was getting a bum rap. But I'm also going to say I don't really remember all the facts very well, so I could be completely wrong.
No, I think you're pretty spot on there. I mean, the dream team, OJ's defense, knew that all they had to do was, get jurors to believe, that there was reasonable doubt, and I think that's what they did. especially with Furman, is there like, can you really, sure, this is the evidence he says he's come up with, but after listening to him, once you lie on the stand and you're proven to lie, it's very difficult for a jury to then carry any additional weight with your other words.
Right. Yeah. It's just wild to me.
Next up, Brian, I know you were a fan of 30 Rock as well as I was. Griswold Grizz Chapman, the beloved 30 Rock actor, died at age 52. Born in Brooklyn, Chapman stood 7 feet tall and was working as a bouncer when Tracy Morgan discovered him and cast him as one of his character's two loyal sidekicks on the NBC sitcom, which ran from 2006 to 2013. In addition to 30 Rock, he appeared in episodes of Blue Bloods, The Blacklist, The Good Fight, and created his own YouTube series, Grizz Chronicles. He had also been a spokesperson for the National Kidney Foundation after struggling with kidney disease. No cause of death was immediately released.
Yeah, I remember this guy on the show. I'm going to say this. I thought it was a good character. It was a second, maybe third tier character on 30 Rock. It was a great ensemble show. But I remember it was always interesting the way Tracy Morgan was complimented by his two bodyguards, who were literally just so wise about life in the world while to interact with Tracy.
Next up, politician Barney Frank, liberal icon and gay rights pioneer who represented Massachusetts' 4th congressional district for more than 3 decades, died at his home in Maine. He was 86 and had been receiving hospice care for congestive heart failure. His name became permanently attached to the Dodd-Frank Wall Street Reform and Consumer Protection Act, the sweeping 2010 law he co-authored with Senator Chris Dodd in response to the near collapse of the U.S. financial system. He was also a trailblazer for the LGBTQ plus community as an openly gay member of Congress, advocating for an end to Don't Ask, Don't Tell, and championing the Employment Non-Discrimination Act. Even in hospice, Frank remained politically engaged, actively promoting a forthcoming book from Yale University Press, arguing that the Democrats must move away from far-left positions to win back voters.
Yeah. Just, I remember this guy. I remember him coming from a time where there was still something honorable about being a politician.
Yeah. And now, not so much.
Now it's just a fucking embarrassment.
Next up,
is this still Barney Frank? Because I'm going to tell you something.
Barney Frank.
When he put out his solo debut hip hop album in 1988 called "Droppin' All Dem Lobbyists," he couldn't rhyme for shit. But you got to give him credit. Barney Frank, what a real one.
Anyway, this is rapper Rob Bass, born Robert Ginyard. Died May 22nd at age 59 after a private battle with cancer, surrounded by family. The Harlem-born artist is best known for the 1988 smash It Takes Two, recorded as part of a duo with DJ Easy Rock. The song blended hip-hop and house music, climbed to number 36 on the Billboard Hot 100, and went platinum. It has since been sampled by Snoop Dogg and the Black Eyed Peas. Bass had continued performing in recent years, appearing on the I Love the 90s tour, and he had just celebrated his 59th birthday days before his passing. You went to the I Love the 90s tour at the Garden, didn't you?
No, it wasn't at the Garden. It was at the what now is called the Palladium. Before it was the Best Buy Theater. It was Vanilla Ice. It was who else was on it? I remember Vanilla Ice. I remember Rob Bass, Tone Loc. Who's the other guy? I don't remember. Right. You know what? I'm going to look it up because I'm going to tell you something. I took my lady, and she was not impressed with the show. You saw it also.
She probably doesn't have the appreciation of the 80s that we do.
Correct.
She grew up in another country.
I saw Young MC. That's who it also was. It was Young MC.
That's right.
And I saw CNC Music Factory. I mean, the thing about that tour is like it toured a couple years, and there were several. It was a couple different iterations. You saw it in Philadelphia, was it? Didn't they do a post game show concert after a Phillies game?
So mine was a much better deal because we didn't have to pay for it. It was a post Phillies game concert.
Sure.
But yeah, it was definitely Tone Loc, Rob Bass. I don't think Young MC was at that one. I'll have to go back. I'll have to look. I don't remember.
What I remember about Rob Bass is I remember I was looking forward to his set more than anyone else's of that show. Was he really only had like 3 songs? I remember he did Joy and Pain. He did. There was a joy and pain. Pump it up, pump it up.
Sunshine and rain.
And
Can
rain.
You hear me now?
What a great song.
One?
I don't remember. Hold on. Right. Let's quickly figure it out. And what I remember was he did like a 25 minute set, and it just dragged out. Like he really did not have any real songs to play, other than just those couple of hits.
Well, and I will say this, having been, a wedding DJ back in the 90s, white people love It Takes Two. If you want to get white people out on the floor and dancing, you would play It Takes Two. Sometimes if they were classy, they'd request Joy and Pain. But 9 times out of 10, if it was an all-white reception, someone's requesting It Takes Two.
And not only that, but also, and this is the other thing that makes it a great song, is the fact that it's you have there's enough of an intro in that song for you to sit there and go, oh, hold on. Right. It's like, you are now listening to the musical stylings of Rob Bass and DJ Easy Rock. Hit it. And then like the song
because normally
you hear that build up, you hear that intro, and you're just like, oh, I'm going on the dance floor right now, and you hyped up by the time you get on there.
Like if you're DJing a wedding, I will tell you, normally you don't want like a slow intro like that. But that was one of the few, because you knew anybody that wasn't on the dance floor, once they heard that intro, they were getting on the dance floor. People running from the bar, running from the bathroom, saying, oh shit, this is my white jam.
Yes. What a great fucking song. What a shame. I remember he looked a little bloated when I saw him. But you know what? A lot of people could look at me right now and be like, hey, you blew up from how skinny you were back in 1992. And I was a skinny kid back then.
And lastly, this one was shocking. Kyle Busch passing away at just 41 years old. 2-time NASCAR Cup Series champion, died from complications of severe pneumonia that progressed into sepsis. He had won Busch Cup Series titles in 2015 and 2019 with Joe Gibbs Racing, and holds the all-time record for wins across NASCAR's top 3 divisions with 234 total victories. He had experienced shortness of breath, felt he was overheating, and was coughing up blood the day before his death was announced. Richard Childress Racing announced it will retire the number 8 car for the remainder of the 2026 season in his honor.
Ron, you are our chief medical expert. If I can ask you, what exactly is sepsis?
So sepsis is when you get some sort of severe infection in your body, and it can cause your organs to start to shut down.
Really? Ooh, that does not sound good. You would think he would have access to some medical care that could have taken care of that thing.
It sounds like he just, he was one of those guys that just, I think didn't want to stop racing. I think he was sick, they said, for a few weeks. Literally passed out in a racing car simulator when they took him to the hospital before later passing away. Like, I think you're at, you're in your early 40s. You still kind of feel invincible at that point.
What a shame. Cannot say I've ever watched him drive.
You're not a NASCAR man?
No, I don't really understand it. Like, I don't really see the athleticism of it. I understand the concept of gambling on NASCAR. You just pick a car and you root for it to drive faster than the other one. But it's really just some guy going like, brake, gas, brake, gas, brake, gas, brake, gas. They're just sitting down and driving. Like, I don't really see athleticism there. Obviously, somebody can drive better than the next person, hence we have winners and losers in racing. But it's not. I don't really see that as a sport. I know the South. I know I'm losing all of our Southern listeners right now.
I would just say, this. I would like our audience to just keep in mind that these comments are coming from a man who once got T-boned pulling into a strip mall in Florida. So he may not be the best person to listen to.
Wow.
Sorry.
You're not wrong. You're not wrong, Ron.
Yeah. Nope, I feel right. Brian, before we run out of time, we need to get to one of our favorite segments, but the drag queens are the problem. Again, I think we found one drag queen. Hopefully we can, we hate, saying hopefully, but hopefully we'll find another drag queen in.
Sure.
And nope, this is a former Pennsylvania priest and state police chaplain, an 84-year-old retired priest named Robert Burns of Greensburg, Westmoreland County, has been charged with a felony count of aggravated indecent assault without consent, plus misdemeanor counts of obstruction of justice and official oppression after two people came forward with sexual abuse allegations. Burns had served as a chaplain for the Pennsylvania State Police through 2018 with a badge and state police uniform. He lived at Christ Our Shepherd Center, where he had an apartment above the kitchen. One alleged victim came forward in March, reporting that in May 2014, Burns approached him from behind in the kitchen and touched him under his underwear. Investigators also identified a second victim who worked in the same kitchen. Burns had befriended one victim, invited him to his apartment, taken him to casinos, watched him shower, and given him alcohol. When confronted about the abuse, Burns allegedly tried to discourage reporting it for the sake of the church and his family and asked both men to forgive him. He was released on $250,000 unsecured bail with a preliminary hearing scheduled for June 1st.
Okay. Good.
We don't want the church to be looked at in a bad light, Brian.
No, we don't want people to forget all the good that the church does while it's also covering up horrendous crimes.
Let's see this next one. Do we have a drag queen here? No, this is a ministry leader, Brian. We are 2 for 2 with ministry people. This is Alan Manning Chambers, the 54-year-old former head of Exodus International, once the country's most prominent gay cure or conversion therapy ministry. He has been arrested in Orange County, Florida, after an undercover sting operation. Investigators allege he used Snapchat, text messages, and Telegram to communicate and with an attempt to arrange a sexual encounter with someone he believed was a 14-year-old boy living in Orlando who was actually an undercover detective. Love that guy.
Oh, that's bad. What a bad look.
The investigation ran for several months, with Chambers allegedly discussing meeting and engaging in sexual activity with the person he believed was a teenager on multiple occasions. Investigators say he repeatedly expressed concern about the age difference and the possibility of getting in trouble and deleted some communications. He is charged with soliciting a minor via computer, transmitting harmful material to a minor, and unlawful use of a two-way communication device. Now, he had made headlines in 2012 when he disavowed conversion therapy, and in 2013 publicly apologized to the LGBTQ community for, quote, years of undue suffering. Following his arrest, the Orange County Sheriff's Office said detectives are actively investigating whether there are additional minor victims.
Quite unfortunate.
No.
Not a good look.
Not a good look. Not a good look.
No.
Next up, Brian.
But also not a drag queen.
Not a drag queen. Not a drag queen. Let's see here. I got one more story. Let's see. Do you think this is a drag queen, Brian?
I just for the name of the bit, I hope so.
No, this is 6 former first responders charged in a South Carolina child sex ring. A former employee of the Greenville City Fire Department and 2 former police officers are among 6 people facing child sex crime charges in Greenville County, South Carolina, in connection with an investigation that dates back to the late 1990s. The 6 suspects: Matthew Fay, age 48, Waylon Rogers, age 48, Alan Foltz, age 58, Paula Foltz, age 58, Edward Storer, age 57, and Janine Storer, age 59. They were all friends and acquaintances, and the alleged crimes occurred at various times between 1998 and 2003. 2 victims came forward in January 2026, alleging graphic criminal sexual conduct. Investigators later identified a 3rd victim. One warrant states that Faye drove a minor to different locations to allow other men to sexually assault the child. Other warrants detail suspects using babysitting access to commit their alleged crimes. Bond was denied for all 6, and they are currently being held in the Greenville County Detention Center.
Jesus Christ, just terrible.
There's a lot of horrible people in this world, Brian.
Yeah. You sometimes just forget it, but Jesus, that's just terrible.
Let's see. Do we have time? Any other stories you feel you want to get to, Brian? We've got a few.
No,
minutes
you are the
left here.
champ. This is champ's privilege.
I've got to ask you this question because again, you're a sports fan like I am. Have you been following what's been going on with the Fernando Tatis Jr. lawsuit?
From my understanding is that it seems like Tatis he signed a contract with a marketing company that kind of pre-funded some of his salary and now wants out of it.
Correct. So this is Fernando Tatis Jr. He recently lost a lawsuit. San Diego Superior Court dismissed it. It was his attempt to void a 2017 contract he signed as an 18-year-old with investment firm Big League Advance. Under the deal, Big League Advance gave the then minor league prospect $2 million up front in exchange for 10% of all of his future MLB earnings. Tatis now also owes $3.2 million from a prior arbitration ruling, plus over $240,000 in attorney's fees. He had filed the lawsuit in June 2025, arguing the firm's CEO preyed upon him as a financially unsophisticated teenager in the Dominican Republic. He alleged he was, quote, fraudulently induced at a dinner meeting where the focus was on fast money for him and his family rather than the long-term consequences. However, because Tatis went on to sign a 14-year, $340 million contract with the 2021, he is now on the hook to pay BLA approximately $34 million over the life of the contract. It's worth noting that the original deal wasn't a traditional loan. If Tatis had never made the majors, he would owe nothing. Brian, what's your thoughts on this?
You signed the deal. I mean, I hate, normally I am all about, screwing the corporation for the individual. And here's an instance where I feel like you've got to go with, the company here. He signed the contract that said, listen, give me money now. And if I make money later on down the line, you'll get a cut of it. And now it seems like he did, now that he realized just how big of a check he's going to be receiving for his sports contract. Now he doesn't want to pay that money.
Right. I mean, and you can certainly, to an extent, understand, you could have borrowed $2 million from somebody. And even with interest, it would not be $34 million. On the company's side, a great investment for them. You pay $2 million.
But I also imagine
back $34 million.
But I also imagine they are putting money up. They're probably taking a lot of risk on a lot of people that never go through, on the account that there's going to be a couple players that they actually do make money off of.
Right. Yeah, you have to imagine there's going to be some, either they get hurt, they don't pan out the way you think they're going to. But yeah, but again, I guess the real question is, can you can you trust that a company isn't trying to screw over an 18-year-old kid by signing one of these contracts?
No, I mean, for however you want to look at it, I mean, it's quite vulturous in terms of, the percent that they're looking to take out. But at the end of the day, that's the contract that they sign. And I don't particularly feel too bad for them.
Yeah, a point I read in another article was that Fernando Tatis Sr. was a Major League Baseball player who earned like $20 million over his career. So that being the case, why would you, sign this deal for $2 million that could potentially cost you a lot more money in the down, Again, you're still making $306 million on your contract once it's all said and done. But they're currently going to try to continue to appeal this case, and we'll see where it goes.
Yeah, I'm interested to see the long term. I do not sympathize to the Tatis family.
All right, one more story to sneak in here.
Sneak it in.
A waiter at Crazy Crab Restaurant in Fairfax, Virginia, has been fired after he printed a racial slur at the bottom of a customer's receipt. The victim, who spoke anonymously, said she was there celebrating her anniversary with her partner when the check arrived with the slur typed on it. She said she was shocked and in disbelief. When she confronted management about it, she was initially brushed off. Here is a copy of the receipt. The line in question is the one right above the two all-you-can-eats, where it says poquito, poquito, and then the N-word is the word that is blurred out there. So what happened was she wasn't getting a lot of response from the restaurant. A friend of hers posted the receipt on social media, and it went viral that management finally fired the employee who had recently immigrated to the U.S. from Asia. The restaurant manager offered a deep apology, saying that there was no excuse for what happened, but the couple told reporters they believed the waiter was only fired because of the online pressure, not because management took it seriously on its own. Not a good look.
Yeah, I think you got to fire the guy. You have to.
Now, is Crazy Crab one of those places where you can get like a seafood boil? Because I know you're a fan of a good seafood boil.
I'm a fan of a seafood boil, but I am not a fan of racism, therefore. So I do not, that's not a place that I would go and spend my money.
All right. You know where you should spend your money, Brian? Where everybody should spend their money is at our Patreon. If you go to pulpofronandbrian.com, you click in the upper right-hand corner to become a patron. I mean, you can join for free, obviously, to follow. But if you join at the $10 level or higher, you get extra content that's going to start at 9:30 tonight. It's our After Dark episode exclusively for Patreon bronze members or higher. If you subscribe at $5, you get the audio. But you really want to be the video is where it's at, as we have proven time and time again on this podcast. So join us. We'll have our monthly pajama party next Sunday. That's where we have our Patreon fans on the show with us. And we'll be playing Can You Beat Brian? Brian, are you ready to defend your honor in a trivia contest against our Patreon subscribers?
You are goddamn right I am ready and looking forward to it.
All right. Sounds good. Brian, it's been an outstanding episode, an outstanding Memorial Day. Hopefully we have honored the fallen with this 68 minutes that we have done. But we're getting ready to do After Dark. So is there anything else you want to say before we roll out of here?
I just appreciate everybody that's stuck around with us, sticking out for the show. Can't wait to do After Dark with you.
All right. Sounds good. Well, thank you all for joining us, and we will catch you next week.
Takes rising, orders given.